Day 4. So it's a little cloudy today, and unfortunately I forgot my umbrella stand. But you know what? God works in mysterious ways and awesome ways. Check this out. Bam! This thing screwed right onto my easel. How awesome is that? That's pretty darn cool. And it's good that we don't have a lot of wind today, so. So I'm thinking today we're gonna do like a critique day. We're gonna do some teaching and hopefully give you guys some knowledge. So let's see. And actually remind myself of things that I may have forgotten over the past few years. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna look at our sketch. We're gonna compare our sketch to the painting. Let's see what we got here. So it's looking pretty good. I mean, the only thing is some of the shapes changed a little bit, and that's okay. But the most important thing I'm seeing is that lead-in line. I kind of lost it when I was painting that tidal pool. This one right at the bottom here. So that's easy enough. You know, you just paint right over it. You can, once these layers of oil dry a little bit, you can paint right over it. So if you get to a point in your work where you're like, oh my gosh, I ruined it, it's garbage, throw it out, you know, just be patient, wait, and you can paint right over this stuff. And if it's too wet, you can scrape it off. That's what I love about oil paints. All right, so getting back to it here. So if you look at these bushes right here, right, and you look at the sketch, I'm definitely gonna have to make some changes there. Oh man, the ants are already coming out. Look at that. That's nature for you. If I see too many, I'm gonna have to move my easel. If you look at this middle line here, I can't point to it while I'm holding the camera. This middle line right there, you can see how that's gonna need to be adjusted. Also, let's look at, as far as like design and composition go, this is something you wanna watch out for. And it just happens subconsciously sometimes, I think, is you have like 3 masses here, 1, 2, 3, even 4, and they're all about the same size and almost the same distance apart. That has to change. That has to change. And also, this area here is getting closed off. And in the sketch, you'll see that it kind of flows through. So I'm gonna have to make a light value of water or sand or something cut through here. So these right here, I'm gonna have to connect these masses a little bit better. Okay. Now, as far as the back trees go, I could probably bring some highlights in once the light comes back. Bring some highlights up here, up here, just to move that line up a little bit, because I don't like, it's kind of, as I talked about earlier, cutting the canvas in half, and that's not good. I mean, it's not terrible, but it could be better. What I do like about this scene, and I'm gonna get to eventually, I know it looks like a mess right now. See these trees? Like, that's pretty messy. But in the scene, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff going on there. I'm not gonna get into too much detail, especially on the bottom area, but I do like the branches coming out over the water and some of those sticks and things. Like, I always like that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's your painting, you put whatever you want into it. So, that's something I wanna work on too. Now this background here with the buildings, I don't care about that. That's a design and an artist's decision right there. So I'm just gonna leave it out. I'm gonna leave it kind of misty, foggy. Back there, this line has to come down a little bit so it looks more realistic. This shape needs fixed. It's a little too odd. It stands out too much. One other thing to keep in mind is like water's reflective. So even though you have like this tree here, you got to keep in mind that it's reflecting down here into this pool of water. So you have to make sure that it lines up, because if you had this, I know you're looking at the scene and the scene may have it over here, but in your design is over here, it doesn't make sense. So now you have to make sure that it's reflecting down here, this is reflecting here, you have a sky hole here, so that needs to be reflected. So there's a lot to think about. It's not just like painting what you see so much, and like copying what you see. Even though you can do that, I got nothing against that, and I've done that myself. It just depends on what type of art you want to make. If you want to make something expressive and bold brushwork, sort of like I'm doing here, then you got to kind of loosen up and let kind of things happen. You just kind of let things happen. And then, you make adjustments on the way. You know how Bob Ross used to say, happy accidents? So when you're painting a tree like this, it's not all one color. Same with the leaves and everything. So you have to move your eye around constantly, from the top of the tree to the bottom of the tree, to the top of the tree to the bottom of the tree. And then you'll start to see, oh, it's warmer at the top and lighter, and it's cooler at the bottom. So on your palette, which I'll show you in a minute, you kind of lay it out like that on your palette. And as long as you get a close approximation of the colors you need, you can always adjust them a little bit. Here, I'll show you. Okay, you got your warm, your cool, you're a little bit warmer but darker. At least you have all these colors to play with. My hand feels shaky today for some reason. Too much coffee, maybe. Who else likes coffee out there? You know what else? Check this out. If you don't have a maul stick, what I did was I took like an old brush and I bent the tip of it. I don't know if you can see that. And that's my little maul stick. Now a maul stick, for those of you who don't know, it just helps keep your hand off the painting so you don't lay your hand in wet paint. And you just rest it on the edge of the canvas like this. I don't know if you can see that. So when you're shaky or when you need to rest your hand, you just basically can do this, and this helps a lot. And don't worry, if you mess up, you know what? You can always, like I said earlier, you can always paint right over it. It's not the end of the world. Moment of truth. Try to be expressive with it. Hello.
Hello. Wow, very nice.
Thank you. Thank you. People are always so kind when I'm out here painting. When you load up your brush and you twist it on the palette back and forth, like on top, over, on top, what you do is you load it up on both sides. So once you paint one side and there's wet paint underneath, you're gonna have like a layer of that under painting on top of your brush. So just flip your brush over and you have a whole nother side to paint with. And technically, you could have 4 sides. And of course, if it gets too muddy or too much other paint on, other color onto it, you just wipe it off, like with a paper towel. There's all this dark color under here, but it's not black, it's dark, but it's like blues and browns. So there's so much going on down there, but I don't want to paint all of it. I just want to pick the ones that I think would work in this design. So sometimes it can be pretty hard, but you know, if it doesn't look good, again, just paint it out, you know. Like, I don't know if that's gonna work. We'll try it, we'll leave it. And then let's see. Because right now we're just doing the shadow side. And once you put those little bits of highlight on there, it's gonna look good. Okay. So this tree's a mess. I gotta fix that right now. Okay. Oh, there's a nice breeze. I wish it'd stay. That's looking kind of cool. All right, so I've been working on these trees and we're making progress here. So if you don't have to paint every tree with perfect accuracy or detail. If you do a few of them, let's say some foreground ones with some nice colors, some nice highlights and stuff, the other ones can kind of just be brush strokes, just indicating that something's back there. It's probably better that way anyways, so because it gives the viewer, it lets the viewer's imagination take over and imagine like, oh, what's going on back there in those woods, you know? So I got the shadow side of most of these done, so I'm gonna put on some highlights right now. And the highlights always make them jump to life. So, okay, I think that needs to be warmer. We're gonna warm it up a little bit. And the highlights aren't perfectly white, so you wanna look into the color there. What you see, you're gonna see warm values, you're gonna see cool values. And then you have to kind of think of it with a scientific mind also, like, okay, if the light's coming from the top, from the sun, it's going to be warm. Now, if it's in the shadow side, it's reflecting the sky color, which is blue. Now, if it's towards the ground, the light's coming down, hitting the ground, bouncing back up into the bottom side of the tree, which is creating a warm value. So you got to kind of think of all this stuff that's happening. Say you had like this warm highlight mixed, and as you're painting it, you notice, oh, there's a little more yellow towards this end. Don't be lazy, you know, just go down, grab a little of that yellow, mix it into your mixture real quick, and paint it what it should look like. Can you see that right there? That's not very light, is it? But when you look at it to its surrounding colors, it looks lighter than it is. So that's a good little tip right there. Let's see, I hope you guys are seeing all this. Hope I'm talking loud enough. Okay, let's see, what else we got? Now the light's changing, so it can't dilly-dally too much. So, little highlight right there. Some light shooting across here. You know, I'm not gonna get too carried away with it, but just enough so that the viewer will see, oh, look at the light hitting that tree. How pretty is that? And then in this, you're sitting there going, you don't know how hard it was to paint that. That's too light. Okay, here's another good tip. So you can paint faster. I know I'm painting kind of slow lately, but that's okay. But you have different brushes for different colors. So I have my lighter warm colors and then my darker colors that I can mix with any kind of value that I want, really. But usually I would have like a light color, maybe warm and cool, a dark color, warm and cool, and maybe even a green, because green gets into everything. And then that helps me, you know, not get so muddy and paint a little bit faster. So let's work over here. Let's see. This one here is really popping. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Kind of let the brush do what it wants to. Sometimes it just wants to skip around. Sometimes it wants to drag paint. I mean, that's the fun of it, is when you look at it and you go, wow, look at that. I wasn't expecting that brush stroke. This tree right here, can you see that? This tree right here, when I look at it in nature, it's very bright. And I feel if I make it that bright as it is in real life, it's gonna take too much attention away from this area that I got going on here. My eye's gonna go right there. So I wanna tone it down like these other ones. Yeah, then it won't draw your attention. And even in real life, like, it's all one piece. Trying to make it better than it is in real life. And hopefully I will succeed. There's even two of them there, but I feel like, I don't know if I don't like two of them together. I just have a feeling about it. Like, no, let's just let that kind of stay one. It does have these cool little things coming out of it, though. All right, that's not bad. Okay, keep going, keep going. All right, so you know how I was just saying, oh yeah, you have two different brushes for each color? Well, I mixed them up. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. That's nice. Okay. Well, you know what? He's getting a highlight. He's coming to life. He's coming to life, so. Man, I still can't believe my umbrella fit on this. Oh, that's crazy. Not crazy, that's a blessing. That is a blessing for sure. All right, what else? Okay, this one. I think I got ants in my pants again.
What's your name?
Sean?
Sean, I'm Sarah.
Yeah. Sarah, nice to meet you.
I'm Bella.
Nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you.
Both of us paint, but we're not that
Oh, you
good.
do? What kind of paintings do you do? Scene, but you know what? When stuff like that happens, that's a good time for you to say, okay, I need to step back, because I haven't stepped back in probably an hour. So it's a good time to step back, take a look at the whole, and see how it's coming along. Forgot to hit record. Okay, here we go. Oops. Messed that up. Look at this. Isn't this amazing right here? These trees. Like when I look at them, there's like no darks in there at all. Like under here, yes, there's a ton of darks. There's blacks. There's like dark warms and cools and all kinds of stuff. But here, there's nothing. That's a good learning experience. There's a point when you just start getting like fatigued, you know? And you're just like, oh, I don't know how much more I can go on. Well, there's a nice breeze kicking up. I don't know if it's going to take my easel over or not, but it's so pretty. Beautiful, another beautiful day, and more people are coming, which is nice. That's good to see because people have to enjoy this beautiful park that we have here. All right. That circle composition with a U influence.